What's going on, everybody? Just want to talk to you real quick, and if you took the time to look at this video, thank you. Just want to talk. Had a real deep conversation that didn't evolve to that point in the beginning, but it was about faith. God, and I was going to and fro, handling the business with Launching Point Project. More information coming about that soon, and the Father's Defense Fund we launching, and all that good stuff. But God said, He said, if God is love, then why did God allow evil people to do bad stuff? I said, my answer was faith. Because he was like, no. See, faith is good. And I had to kind of slow him down. Not necessarily. Faith is like time. It's indiscriminate. Faith gives you what you give it. It's indiscriminate. It works with what you give it. Because even the Bible talks about now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So you don't see it. What's my evidence? My evidence is the actions that I'm doing. That's why a lot of times you see someone struggling and it's like, man, they ain't doing good. But you don't understand they're paying that price to go to the next level. There's a price to be paid in anything you seek to pursue. So it's like they struggling, but it's like building a house. They're building the foundation. It don't look like the house. You don't see the frames because they got to excavate the land first. Then you got to dig, and you got to lay the foundation, and you got to dig, then you got to lay the frame. So it's a process you're not privy to, and you think they struggling, but they just transitioning because they paying the price. So he was like, no, faith is good. I said not necessarily, because even in the Bible, it talks about faith. Faith is the substance, again, of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. This is my faith. The actions I take are my faith. And faith is indiscriminate. It's not good. It's not evil. That's why, quote unquote, bad people are allowed to do bad things, because their faith moved them. Faith is never good or evil. It just gives you what you give it. It's an energy. It's a force. It's a mechanism. It's like sowing and reaping. It's like time. Time is indiscriminate. It gives you what you give it. You can either be a waster of time or you can be a manager of time. Time doesn't discriminate. Neither does faith. It gives you what you give it. So if I want to rob a bank, my evidence is the plan I put. Now, to combat the quote unquote evil, your faith has to create another strategy to combat that faith. So even though you got a bank robber, I have to devise a plan, if I'm good, to stop the bank robber. Because faith is indiscriminate. But if all I'm doing is just praying without action against this person's faith, that's why a lot of times we never manifest anything, because we pray the wrong way. We pray and we stop with action. So we never manifest our faith. We scapegoat our actions. So you praying that God bless you with the business, but you never make the business plan. Remember, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. What's my evidence? So evil people have faith too. So the struggle isn't pray against their faith, because now you praying against free will. If God is a gentleman, then you in essence are forcing your will upon somebody. What you have to do is have enough faith to circumvent what they're doing, so it won't negatively impact your life. It's like in a custody battle. You got somebody who's lying in court, saying how you irresponsible or you a bad parent. It happens to mothers and fathers. And your faith has to move you to compel, to stop that. So my faith is, for example, okay, well, I'm going to prove that I'm not a bad parent. So what's my evidence? It's the photos. It's the text messages. It's the evidence. It's the receipts that I produce. So this is the faith that combats the negativity of them filing a false police report, because now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So they false police report is the evidence of things not seen. Their faith is to ruin you from a character standpoint. So that's the essence of faith, because faith is working in both situations. It's the motive behind the faith that makes it good or evil, not faith itself. Faith is an energy. It's a universal principle that you got to tap into. So next time someone asks you, or asks, hey, if God it is, and I believe God is universal. To me, my pursuit, because I was hungry, I consumed it. That it just wasn't sufficient. You made a book, you've made a building God, and it just wasn't sufficient. And a lot of people who say, no, that's just hearsay. That's blasphemy. But they haven't studied. They've made their pastor a golden image instead of the pastor shepherding. And some pastors will correct that. Some pastors don't. And that's fake as well. You've made this image of a person who's made in the image of God. You're God. So that's why you limited in your scope on God, because the only God you know is on Sunday. Because you don't tap into that God inside of you, because you're not going to find God in a book. God is omniscient. If we believe God is omniscient, which means all knowledge, if we believe God is omnipotent, which means all powerful, and the definition of power is the ability to create an action. So how can one book explain everything about God? The book is a spark. And all books can be a spark to spark the curiosity. Because if you're really hungry after God, that one book isn't sufficient, because you still there's a gnawing on the inside. There's a gnawing on the inside. So I said all that to say faith is indiscriminate. Someone asks you, hey, if someone asks, well, why God let bad people do bad things? That's why. Because it isn't God letting them. It's people operating in free will, and they're using faith. Faith is indiscriminate. So there's no good or evil faith. It's the motive behind the faith that determines if a person is evil or good or negative motives. It's not faith itself. So that's all. I just wanted to share my thoughts with you. And if you took the time to view this video, thank you. Have a good day. Peace.